All right. It is 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, please. So, and Kimberly, if you start us off with a roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich.
Here.
Adam Humpkin.
Here.
Andrew Cordy is absent today. Kelly Moyer.
Here.
Greg Meyer.
Here.
Lisa Schumacher. Here. Tyson Search.
Here. All right. That gives us a quorum. If you'd all stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Welcome, visitors. We have a big full house tonight. I love to see that. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Do we have any public comments? Someone, you go ahead and stand in front so we can all see you and state your name, please.
I believe we were told that it was supposed to get closed.
We're having a closed session.
If you'd like to participate in that
I
one
believe
instead.
that's what.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what they were
Yeah.
told.
So that's
No
why.
problem. We have to give an opportunity for everyone to speak in public. So,
Okay.
but close is perfectly fine. We have you guys scheduled, so
Oh, okay.
we can do it then.
So you want us to wait? Yeah.
I'll leave that up to you. So,
It doesn't matter.
I can't take your.
So that, I was told it has to be closed. So
It is.
that's why.
So
Well,
it'll
it
be at
depends
the
on
end of the
what you
meeting.
want.
Okay, then thank you. Wasn't sure how it works.
If it's personnel, it needs to be closed. All right. Any other public comments? All right. Hearing none, we go on to our next item, which is correspondence. Any correspondence going around?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. Okay, perfect. We'll move right into the business section of our meeting with our consent agenda. Mr. Grody, if you could walk us through that, please.
Yeah, you've got your minutes and we had the executive sessions and the open regular minutes and the special meetings. You've got your financials, all of that other stuff. Resignations, we have Sarah Richter, our middle school nurse, has resigned at the end of this school year. Savannah Hunzacker, who's a freshman volleyball co-coach, also resigned. And Brad Gocher, our district treasurer, he's been on since 2020, is stepping down come July 1st. Mark Jensen, who is the chief school business official at Freeburg, is the recommendation. He is their district treasurer. He would be our district treasurer as well. He's a community member. That is going to be perfect because he knows the job. We've got Mike Hall and Laura Simmons splitting the cross-country co-coach at the high school. And Colin Warenberg is replacing Savannah Hunzacker as the freshman volleyball co-coach. Then we've got a lot of summer workers. Lots of names there. I wanted to add Sam Horner onto that as well. As far as the student workers, they get the minimum wage, but there is a lot of movement this summer. We are moving a lot of rooms at the middle school. We're going to paint a lot of areas at other rooms. That's why there's so many student workers. You also have to be aware that our student workers, God love them, they take weeks off to go on vacation and they don't always show up. So there's more there than will be there every day. It's a balancing act. We've got the vacancies of school nurse, paraprofessional, and Eagle Zone. We also are always looking for cooks. We've got a retirement that we celebrated just last week or this week. They're all blending together, and we're always looking for drivers as well. And we need an 8th grade assistant baseball coach to replace Mr. Mount, who resigned. Did I mention him in the thing? Brody Mount, 8th grade assistant baseball coach, resigned. You can add that to the resignations. Given that, the consent agenda would be recommended to be approved as presented.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Grody. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Tyson seconds. All right. Roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich.
Yes.
Adam Humpkin.
Yes.
Kelly Moyer.
Yes.
Greg Meyer.
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher.
Yes.
Tyson Search.
Yes.
Perfect. Motion carries unanimously. All right, go on to item 7, which is our communications reports and presentations. The enrollment report is in your packet. Anything substantial there? And move on then to our administrative reports, and we'll start with our Parkview, Mr. Dugan.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Parkview's been very busy the months of April and May, like I'm sure all the schools have been. Picture's worth 1,000 words there. Hold on.
Or 1,000 pictures.
4,000
Yeah.
pictures.
There we go. First one on the left there, that's our Girls in the Run. We had 43 third and fourth grade Parkview girls that participated in the Girls in the Run program this spring. The program teaches girls about fitness, healthy choices, reaching goals, friendship, and self-esteem. It concluded with a practice 5K in the park. We had staff and parents out rooting them on. And they had their official Girls in the Run 5K at Forest Park on Saturday. Huge thank you to the coaches, Mrs. Elliott, Mrs. Volmer, Ms. Hentis, Ms. Leifer, Ms. King, Mrs. Meisner, Mrs. Erkey, Mrs. Mize, and parent helpers Emily Ludi and Jessica Meal. That next picture is from the art show. We had a fantastic showing for our annual Parkview Art Show. Mrs. Oberfeld's artists showcased Bloom into Art, featuring collaborative mosaic planters, an installation, tiny art shows, circle weaving, along with clay pots. I don't know what a lot of that means, but that was from Mrs. Oberfeld. Then our next one is Field Day. Students participated in the end of the year Field Day competition between grade levels. Events included football, frisbee throw, soccer ball kick, relay race, and other events. Mrs. Wheeler's third grade class and Mr. Carosello's fourth grade classes both earned the most points for the grade level, which starts to become a big deal with competition. But the kids had a lot of fun. Then also we had the Kona Ice Truck that all students and staff got to enjoy. That comes from the chocolate money that we get in the fall. We get a lot of money from that fundraiser, so we're able to buy everybody snow cones. On the next slide. That picture in the middle is a picture of an interior classroom in our basement. Students and staff went into our safe place, which is in an interior room in our basement. During the severe weather last Wednesday, students and staff remained calm and quiet while transitioning to the Parkview basement. Students brought books and Chromebooks with them to pass the time. At the end of the day, I'm very proud of staff supervision and student cooperation during the 50 minutes. I was told that that's one of the first times that we had to do that, which was shocking to me that we haven't had a tornado siren going off during a school day. But I feel like we were pretty safe and the kids were calm. Yeah, we was in good hands. Then we also had our different grade level events. The Donuts with Darlings, there's not a picture of that. That's second grade. They invited parents and our buddies to enjoy a donut and read a book. Third grade did Deer Day, drop everything and read. They had parents and buddies come in to read a book and enjoy snacks. And then finally, our fourth grade wax museum. Mrs. Myers.
So I'm Donna Myers. I teach fourth grade, and I was just going to have you stand up too. Lynn Webb. I also teach fourth grade. So we're just going to talk a tiny bit about the Wax Museum. This is a fun activity for the kids every year, but it does take a lot of prepping, and we start probably late January, early February, working on a paper where the kids research a famous person and they go through the writing process and find out when they were born, what their childhood was like, their training and their accomplishments, and then we put it all into a paper, they type it, and then hang it in the hall, and then we kind of give it a break for a month or two, and then we go to the second step.
And then we work on the process of changing it from third person to first person. And so we take each of those components of the essay and practice changing it from third person to first person, from a biography to an autobiography. And then we take the greeting, they start off with the greeting, we practice the greeting, we change it over, we go through the birth, the claim to fame, the childhood, character traits that make that person, why we put them on the list, pretty much, and also a lesson learned from that person. And we put it into a speech, and then they practice, and then they practice, and they practice and practice and practice.
Speech.
and we work on eye contact, and we work on just making sure that we're talking loud enough and
slow.
And slow. That's
Slow
right.
enough.
Yes. So, and I think they could probably recite it in their sleep at this point.
Mhm.
So, should we go
So we
ahead?
have two kids to come and present. Emily, would you want to go first?
pretend that that's your button there.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend that's your button. She's gonna come and press the button, okay?
She's a wax character. She got
Oh, hello. Let me introduce myself. My name is Laura Ingalls Wilder. Now I will tell you about my life. I was born on February 7th, 1867 in Pepin County, Wisconsin. I am best known for being the author of many books and for having a literature award named after me. As a child, I grew up with 4 siblings whose names were Mary, Carrie, Freddie, and Grace. Mary was blind, and Freddie died when he was 9 months old. My life on the prairie would inspire my later stories. I became famous for writing the Little House on the Prairie books. Surprisingly, I did not start writing until I was in my mid-60s. My earliest writings were for local farming publications. I was very courageous and hardworking. I made sure that my farm was kept safe and in order. I also made sure that my family was happy during tough times. I hope my hardships and difficulties have inspired you to never give up when obstacles stand in your way. Later on in my life, I married Armando Wilder and gave birth to Rose Wilder Lane. Together, we overcame many challenges. Sadly, I passed away on February 10th, 1957, shortly after my 90th birthday. Thank you for coming, and never give up. Good day. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Walter Elias Disney, but I go by Walt Disney. I was born in Chicago, December 5th, 1901. I'm famous because of inventing the multiplane camera, my contributions to animation and entertainment. I lived the beginning of my life in Chicago, then moved to Marceline, Missouri when I was 4. There I took care of pigs and got inspiration. I did not go to school until I was 7, when my sister was almost 2. A train ran through Marceline and inspired Disneyland's Main Street. It also made me like trains. When I was 9, I moved to Kansas City. There I had to work at 3:30 in the morning to learn newspapers. I made Disney Studios Disneyland, a college dedicated to the arts on the multiplane camera. I earned 7 Emmy Awards, 26 on a Cecil B. DeMille Award. I received the most awards in a year and most honors. I made contributions to animation like anti-aircraft units stand by still a lot. I made training videos for armed forces. I was the first person to make nature documentaries that helped educate people on nature and animals. I hope you learn to keep moving forward and always be yourself. Sadly, I passed away on December 15th, 1966. I hope you enjoyed learning my life. If you can dream it, you can do it.
That's all we got for Parkview.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Great job. Great job. All right, Alyssa, you got to follow that again.
I was just gonna say, I don't,
Yeah.
these tough acts, I gotta have to keep following. So I'm gonna start with some shout outs, but it's May, and so I wanted to shout out our new teacher class for this year. So at the high school, just kind of going across the top, we had Zach, Dasani, Lindsay, Brody, and then across the bottom, Kirk, Julie, Megan is actually at the middle school and the high school, and Kylie. At Eagle View, we had Olivia. In the middle is Kayla. She was shared at Eagle View and Parkview. Kim was at Parkview. And then across the bottom are our middle school new teachers this year. Mandy, Marla, Michelle, Chloe, and Melanie. But I think they've done a lot of things and they've done a lot of great things while they're here, but I think one of their biggest accomplishments was when I was pulling these pictures, I had to keep going back to my notes going, really? This is their first year? Like, no, I have the wrong group. Like, they've been here more than once. And I think that just goes to show that they came in, jumped right into the district, really acclimated themselves, and have all made like I said, big contributions and help to the district, and especially for it to only be 9 months later and they don't feel like the new teachers is exciting. So just wanted to give a shout out to those 16 individuals that have been with us this year. I wanted to give an update. So if you remember at one of our last board meetings, we had the 8th graders come and talk to you about their books that they wrote for their 3rd grade buddies. Well, this week they took their books to their 3rd grade buddies. And Chris and I walked down to watch them and listen to them read. And they were everywhere. We were like, oh, look, they're in the hallway. And then they were in a classroom and they were in the library. They were spread out all over. And I don't know who had bigger smiles, those 8th graders or those 3rd graders. They were so excited about it. Everything that those students shared with you when they were here at the last board meeting, my heart was like full. Like, you have one of those like, okay, it's not a great day. I've got all this to do. And to watch that happening in person rather than just hearing about it was like, okay, this is now the best day ever. We can keep moving on. So just wanted to share with you that Chris and I got the opportunity to see that in person, and it was every bit as magical and amazing as those 8th graders shared with you. We also got back our preliminary IAR scores from 3rd through 8th grade for ELA and math. And so we're looking for a lot of blues and greens on these charts. And so this was our ELA scores. These were our math scores, so very exciting. But then we've been tracking the cohort data. So the colors are, you can follow the color code and see how the students are doing and progressing. And so there are obviously some great celebrations when we look at this. It also starts to give us some data that, okay, we need to start focusing in on some certain grade levels on what's going on. Is the curriculum not matching the standards? Do we need to reorder the way that we're teaching it so that we ensure that we're teaching those essential standards? I've been sharing with you that we've been working on the power standards, the essential skills, and so now making sure that that is built into those lessons and the assessments. Will that start making data? But we're now getting to the point that we have enough data to track it. But there were a couple of things that when I opened the email and I started going through all of this data and compiling it, I literally yelled out loud in my office when I saw that our 6th grade math students, I was very excited. Our 6th grade math students, 78% of our students in 6th grade math met or exceeded on the test. And 81% of our 8th grade ELA students met or exceeded on the test. On top of that, in that 81%, 30 students exceeded on the test, which if you ask the kids, if you ask any teacher that looks at the scores, the state of Illinois has upped the scores. So they take, here's what this testing system says you should score. And because the state of Illinois has upped the level for an SAT score, they then had to up the scores for everyone else. So to say that a student in Illinois meets or exceeds on the test means they are outperforming even other students that meet and exceed in surrounding states because the state has changed the data. So a lot of celebrations from this, but one in particular that I wanted to share, in 8th grade this year, Miss Boatman and Miss Klein challenged their students and said, if 80% or more of you meet or exceed on the test, then you can pour ice water on us when we find out. And if you remember, I said 81% of them met or exceeded.
We made a bet to get to 80% this year, and we've done ice water on them. And we got to 81%.
those 8th graders were really excited to dump ice water. But this is just one example of, our teachers work so hard all year to teach our students, prepare them for the standards and what's going on, and being prepared to take the test, because just test taking skills in themselves is a whole other thing that kind of is not really talked about, but is just as much a part of it. But this also shows how much our teachers work to motivate our kids as well. And that's one of those things that you can't train people to do. It's just inherent. And I think there was a lot of motivation that happened around the district. This is just one example, but that's because we have some of the best teachers around. So just wanted to give all of them a general shout out. But very excited about the scores. More to come when they're not preliminary data.
Awesome.
I love that my son was one of them.
I thought that was
Every time he
Shan's.
comes home and I'm like, what'd you do at school today? Nothing. Like, there was this is the first I even knew about this. I'm like, there's a difference between boys and girls. They'll come home and the girls will tell you everything, boys won't tell you anything.
That's funny.
And that's all I have.
Perfect, thank you so much. All right, and on to our superintendent's report.
All right, I can confirm, Mr. Dugan, the severe weather, every building handled it so wonderfully. It's always good to know that when emergency strikes, people jump to what they need to do. I was at the high school, and Mr. Gagan said that was the second time in my career here that we've ever had to, actually huddle in place. I said, really? And that, to me, was shocking. I trust but verify, and Donna Worsham over at Eagleview, who's been here for a long time, confirmed, yeah. And she said in 1996, there was a big storm, and she remembers it because it went through their family farm. But those were the 2 times. So I am glad to say, though, that everybody sat there for a good half an hour. They were respectful, they were polite, and no one liked to be in those hallways, but everybody was safe until the all clear was done. Other things that have happened, we had RevTrack. If you buy food or pay your fees online, RevTrack is the system that takes the money. RevTrack had a bit of an issue, or I should say Skyward had a bit of an issue. We don't know exactly what happened or how it happened, but anybody that had automatic deposits for their food service started seeing frequent and numerous withdrawals into the account, and it wasn't hitting our account. And so we also had issues of parents who are paying off their fees for their kids' graduation, and our secretary saying, well, no, you haven't paid. I paid today. Well, you haven't paid. And anyway, Kimberly, Kim Gibson, Trent Mahaffey, and Laura Glowacki have worked hard, gotten that all back together, made sure that the monies got refunded, the checks got sent, and I believe the RevTrack and Skyward issue is now resolved. Payroll went live, talking about more electronic things. Everything seemed to work with that. We will be moving toward electronic time cards and starting to do online vacations and leave requests, so that's going to be a good thing. We're going to go slowly. The full-time custodians will start the electric time cards in July, and then we'll start with everybody else over the summer. The student workers and things that are working this summer, if they're an aide, or the cooks, like Mrs. Hours working custodian this summer, they won't be electronic yet. They're still doing the time cards, and we'll then transition. But in next year, we should be completely electronic with that. We had a meeting at the parking lot, and that should be open soon. The punch list was created. They're down to fixing the drain that got broken. And there's rails going on those stairs, but that will get done soon, and I believe that people will be able to start parking in there soon. It is the end of the year, and it has been crazy, and you have a severe weather, your payroll's not working, RevTrack's going, but you do get those moments where you get to go down a hallway and watch just a bunch of 8th graders with 3rd graders reading to each others, and it's a wonderful juxtaposition. I also want to say that graduation is this Sunday. We're looking forward to it. It's set up in the field, which I believe it will be hot, but we will be out there according to weather. We're also set up in the gymnasium, should it be a rain date. We will have a special board meeting just prior to graduation. I have to admit, as superintendent, I failed in adding an agenda item on here to approve the testing of the materials for the new construction. So as they start construction and part pouring concrete, you want to make sure that you take some of that concrete and get it tested to make sure it's adequate. We got the information in late, but it didn't matter because I didn't have it as an agenda item. And so it was within the 48 hours. So I apologize for that, but there'll be a 10-minute meeting in the high school office just before graduation, and the only action item is to approve the quotes from the material testings, and that was completely and utterly because of my oversight, and I apologize for that. That said, I cannot believe that Tuesday is going to be the last day of students. The days go fast, don't they? So, kind of like with the new teachers, it's just, you take a moment and review the year and just, okay. That's all I have.
All right. And just to add to Mr. Groter's report, so the special meeting on Sunday before our deal is open to the public. If anyone would like to attend, it's going to be at the high school this time. Again, it is a procedural type meeting. We figured we were all going to be together anyway, so we'll keep the ball rolling. But it is a public meeting if anyone wants to attend and witness that much fun.
Yeah.
All right, move on to our items for action. The first one is the approval for the state FFA convention trip on June 11th through the 13th, 2024.
Life's always about dotting I's and crossing T's. We've gone to the state FFA convention since I've been here. This is the first time it's being brought to the board for approval. My recommendation is to approve it. We've got Lucas Schneider, who's actually going to be receiving his state degree. That is they have to keep logs through 4 years of their time in FFA. And so that's quite the honor. I believe, I talked to his father, and I believe Lucas is planning to keep his journal that they do for FFA the next 2 years so that he can get his national degree as well. But he's going to be honored at the state convention with all the other students that have done this. Again, it's a small group. But since it is an overnight, since it is far away, Mr. Reeves was like, we haven't done it before? I'm like, no, I don't. You look at back at agendas. So this will be a yearly approval item. I'm requesting that they get to go to the state FFA convention.
Right, and my only question is, it says 12 students. Is that bus capacity again, or do we only have 12 that want to go?
No, it's just the number that wants to go.
So if we have more than 12,
We would have
gonna
more than
accommodate
12
them.
going.
Perfect, okay, good. All right. Any other questions? Comments, concerns? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the Illinois State FFA convention trip?
I'll make a motion. Oh. But you, Lisa, every time. Go ahead.
I think Lisa edged you out on that one, all right? How about a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Noreen. All right. Money or no money? I guess
Yeah.
roll call.
It would be, because there's
Okay.
buses and stuff.
All right, perfect. Let's do a roll call, please.
Adam Hunkin?
Yes.
Andrea, sorry. Kelly Moyer? Yes. Craig Meyer?
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Tyson Search?
Yes.
Maureen Creeder?
Yes.
We're going to continue with our procedural type stuff, and B is the established public hearing date and time to amend the 2023-2024 school budget.
Yeah, at the end of every year, we have to amend the budget. You approve the budget, it's tentative budget, and now we're at the end of the fiscal year, and so we need to have a hearing to approve that budget. We will put that budget on display on the 20th of May, which is just after this weekend. And then 30 days later, at the regular meeting of June 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m., my recommendation would be to start that meeting with a budget hearing, followed by the regular meeting.
Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to establish the hearing date and time for the amended budget?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Second?
I'll second.
Tyson seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. Unanimous. All right, item C is the approval of extend the term of the Miss Vic employee benefit pool.
Yeah, the Mississippi Valley Insurance Consortium, better known as MISVIC, does our employees' benefits and our property casualty insurance. This one is for the employees' benefits. I do not know how long we've been with MISVIC, but I know that we've been there since I've been here. We did have a subcommittee meet and look at other options. And MISVIC has just a really great history of rates and claims. I know everybody thinks their insurance is the worst, but it's insurance.
I'd join it if I could, so.
There you go. The recommendation is that we extend this, and again, it's a yearly thing, but they do a 3-year term. We could get out next year if we needed to, so we're not locked into it, but it is a 3-year, and it's part of our pool.
Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the extension of the term for the MSBIC employee benefit pool?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Tyson.
I'll second.
Adam seconds. A roll call, please.
Kelly Moyer?
Yes.
Craig Meyer?
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Tyson Search?
Yes.
Maureen Friedrich?
Yes.
Adam Humpkin?
Yes.
All right, and hand in hand with that is letter D, which is approval to extend the term of the MSBIC property casualty pool.
This would be for our property and our bus fleets and our trucks and things of that nature. We've been with MSVIC, as I said, for a long, long time, and the rates are very, very competitive and good. The recommendation is that we would continue with the property casualty pool as well.
Any questions, comments, concerns? All right, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the MSVIC property and casualty pool extension?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Lisa. Second?
I'll second.
Kelly seconds. Roll call, please.
Craig Meyer?
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Tyson Search?
Yes.
Maureen Friedrich?
Yes.
Adam Humpkin?
Yes.
Kelly Moyer?
Yes.
All right, since we're going to be a member of MSVIC for another year or 3, we need to appoint a MSVIC employee benefit and property and casualty pool board member. Any volunteers?
Historically, it has been the superintendent, Chris Grody. So
I
I'll
volunteer
recommend-
Chris Grody.
Yeah, the recommendation would be to appoint the superintendent, Chris Grody, as the board member.
Perfect. Unless somebody else wants it, right? All right. And we'd like to make a motion to volunteer Mr. Grody for the position.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. Motion carries. All right. Next is the little F, which is approval of our second reading of the stipend for job descriptions.
And I did get some feedback from employees. We met with the association and went over this. So let me summarize some of the key changes. Under qualifications for pretty much every job description, it read experience and knowledge of. We changed that to knowledge and/or experience of. So you might never have played basketball, but if you have knowledge of, you don't need the experience. So it's knowledge and/or experience. We also changed at the bottom, May 2024 would be the updated date. A varsity head coach was missing from the packet, and that was brought to my attention, and so that has been added. And then in yearbook, there was a portion that said that that the yearbook advisor would supervise students at all times, and that just isn't what happens because they send the kid to the games to do it, and the yearbook advisor's not there. And so we changed that to coordinate and communicate with students and volunteers regarding all events. And so it's more of a coordination and communication, and if there's issues, the yearbook and the administration will deal with that. But given those changes to the job descriptions, I would recommend that you approve the second reading of the stipend job descriptions. And again, I will say this, as I said it last time, these job descriptions are for us to list what the minimum standard is for the individual to get the stipend that's in the contract. And the next time that we negotiate, the association and the board side have discussed that we really need to start looking at those percentages and what the duties entail and all that. So it's not at this point to change any of the job descriptions, or it's just to get it down on paper so that at the next negotiations a more deep discussion can be occurring.
That's also a reason we do several readings of it, so we can digest it, correct it, improve it, that sort of thing before it gets final. So, any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a few comments. So the essential functions portion that reads very similarly across the board, I take exception with quite a bit of it because I don't know how you measure it, qualify it, define it, like the physical ability to perform all necessary upper and lower body movements, things like that. What does that mean? you know, I leave myself questioning with some of them, well, what does that mean? How, what does it do if someone can't, how do you tell them they can't? Because there's really no standard. And they're the same for every single one. I understand a band director needs to be able to do upper body movements, but why lower? You know, what if, you know, there's just a lot of that I'm like, oh, I don't really understand some of the essential functions. The performance responsibilities I think are nice. I think they're good, but
To be honest, the essential functions are exactly the same in each and every one of them, and they were the legalese that was advised to be put in there. If we want to go through and try and parse those out, I'd be more than willing to sit with you and do that. So we can table this if we want,
or
take a
just
deeper look at
remove
those.
it, because if it's not quantifiable or definable, if you will, then I don't really see the need for a boilerplate essential function if they're not unique to the position.
He's got a point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
We can make the motion with that removal.
Was that
You can
necessary for workman's comp, though?
table it, and so we can get, I know that it was language the lawyers wanted to have. So, I don't know the details as to why, and so maybe it'd be wise to table this and get more clarity on that.
I don't know that we should change something if, until we truly understand why it's in there.
So I'm reading the board has a consensus to table this until.
I'll make a motion to table it until a future board meeting.
Perfect.
All right?
Do we need a second, or do we just?
Now we just table it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's no action, it'll just go over to June 20th. Perfect, thank you for bringing that up, Adam. All right. Next one is the approval and the implementation of the second reading of the board policies, press issue 114.
And I received no feedback or comments regarding these, and so the recommendation would be to approve the second reading as presented.
Questions? Comments?
Comment.
All right, I'm getting the comments.
So just as an FYI, so a lot of this, there was a lot of updates through the state on harassment and, you know, things with equal employment and, you know, sexual denial of equal employment opportunities on the basis of race, color, national origin, et cetera. That, there was one comment that read through probably 15 times through these. It was just, it's an update in some of the state's legalese. I will note that sadly, we will need to make some updates to our compliance managers if this is for the 24-25 school year.
Yeah,
Because it's
because
listed
Ms.
as
Smith-
Ms. Smith instead of Assistant Superintendent. So unfortunately, we'll have to make some changes there at the due time, so I don't know if we want to approve that change effective when the Assistant Superintendent role turns over, or if we'll have to come back to do the updates.
We can come back and do the updates
And
later.
there's numerous policies that have Ms. Smith as, Mrs. Smith as the appointed
Dr.
coordinator.
Smith, come on.
I'm
Well, it is
reading,
listed
I'm
as
reading.
Ms. Smith 'cause she wasn't doctor.
She wasn't
reading-
doctor then.
I'm reading, we will remove Mrs. Alyssa Smith and replace with
Right, it'll need to be changed with Ms. Ganey, Dr.
Dr.
Ganey.
So,
I guess since she's still here, are you good with continuing as is, and then we'll
Yeah.
change it when?
yeah, I just wanted to make note that
You can change it now when I'll step back from those and do the rest of
No
the
chance.
time.
No chance.
we would have no.
We're handling complaints until June 30th.
Other than that, I didn't, that was, and then there was one question I had on 250, board member term of office. One point in there says the term ends 4 years later when the successor assumes office. What if there's an instance where there's not a successor? If a seat goes vacant, is the person not allowed to leave?
You can't stop a person from
Stop
moving.
forever.
No.
Nobody's.
What would happen then is the seat is void, and then the board has, I believe, 30 days to fill the seat. They post it, and then they interview the people that would like to do it, and they can fill the seat. And if the board fails to do that in 30 days, I believe the assignment goes to the regional superintendent to assign.
Okay, it was just a very definitive statement, but with no qualifier, so I was like, well, it says the only way you can leave is when its successor assumes office. So.
I've seen board members leave. Typically, when they move out of district, they will abandon the seat, and then if it's midterm, you get appointed.
You're missing his
And
point.
that's-
He's saying that if no one is elected, the old board member is not required to leave.
This says you're
But
on
no, I
the
get
until
what
your
he's saying.
successor
I
arrives.
just,
So.
you can't stop somebody from retiring. You can't stop somebody from leaving. You can't hold
But can you make
anybody
them
in.
leave is his question.
What's that?
Can you make them leave?
It is extremely hard to.
No, that's a different policy. It's in your- you can't do that. The regional superintendent. Or we collectively can.
So, would you like to table that one, or are you good with it?
No, I'm good.
As written, okay. Adam's my moral legal compass, so. All right, any other questions or comments, concerns? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the,
So
and
that needs-
implement the second reading of the board policy press issue 114?
So it needs to go on the July agenda to change the list out of everything, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Adam. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
Maureen Friedrich?
Yes.
Adam Hunkins?
Yes.
Kelly Moyer?
Yes.
Craig Meyer?
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Tyson Search?
Yes.
All right, that concludes our business section of the meeting. Thank you all very much. Next item is our discussions, which will start off with our facility study.
I just want to apologize one more time for my oversight of not adding the material testing. It's frustrating for me. But as soon as these students leave, we will start the site improvements, and you're going to start seeing some changes at that high school, so it's exciting. So Adam or Greg, you have anything?
Have you anything? Really?
Nope.
As Mr. Gardy said, we did a walkthrough today on the punch list for the parking lot. There are some minor items that, and we were very thorough. I want to thank the City of Columbia for their assistance in all this. They had 3 people there today, both city engineers and a city manager, and or I'm not sure what Mike's title is, but anyway, they've been very on top of everything and helping us make sure that nothing is overlooked. And we got a punch list. We're holding the contractor to the fire, make sure that it is completed and completed right. And we're going to have a great project or a great product when we're all done. So not a whole lot else happening on the other front, is there?
At this point, we're just,
Like we're just,
I think we will start seeing fences and stuff for the new project after school is out, so before the next board meeting for sure.
oh yeah,
exactly.
So
next
just
week,
in
because
the-
Tuesday's the last day of kids, so.
Yeah, in approximately a week, people will start seeing construction fence and other barriers and some movement around the high school campus as we begin some of the prep work for the construction and remodeling effort. So don't be surprised if you go to drive through the high school and you're directed one way or the other, depending on what's going on at the moment. And I know that summer schedules and logistics have been altered, so if anyone is going to be on campus through the summer for whatever reason, just follow the signs or barriers or go where you're allowed, and don't be surprised if there's construction happening. So I know there's a limited number, but there won't be the entire parking lots open, and they'll be moving stuff in and out throughout the summer. So
You remind me of a key point, and that is the front doors that people typically will enter to go into the office at the high school will be fenced in because they're working on the front of the building. And so the new front office will be back behind by the park stairs in the gym. There is the door, I don't know directions, but the door by the gymnasium that is the closest to Route 3, if I'm describing.
to the park. So it's the one closest to the park will be the main entrance, not on the Route 3 side, the other side.
It's on the park side, but on the park side, it's closest to the wall, the academic wing. It's not, yeah. Because there's 2 doors, and it'll be this one. It's the one that's got the actual ticket booth where you used to enter, and there was a ticket booth there, so.
Yeah, basically drive around the backside of the high school.
Yeah.
It's on the backside.
It's on the backside.
Look for an open door. And last thing on this also, so the parking lot is nearly completed. However, we have no handrails on the steps coming down, which there've never been any, but probably.
It's never been formally used either.
Exactly. So I think the official parking lot is going to be closed for the graduation this Sunday. So probably find a better place to park. 'Cause there's still barricades up, and it might be a little hazardous with some mud over the
We've lost
road.
no
so.
parking yet, though, either.
Exactly, right. So
So-
we're not, it's not needed yet, but just very much. All right, perfect. All right, let's move on to individual board member comments.
I'd like to, can we go back to new hires, Kim, of having them attend the meeting that we are hiring them at? Instead of doing it at the beginning of the next school year when they've been hired, can we see faces of the people we're hiring at that current meeting? Please.
Not my choice, but I can.
Well, we did it, we were doing
What
it
is
for a
that?
little bit,
It's not my
and then we
fault.
got away
I
with it.
just do whatever I'm told.
The hard part is the board meetings are sometimes not available for the person, and so then if they can't show up, they feel bad, and then it looks bad on them, and so it's kind of awkward. So what we've done is, we have one event, one time in the summer, that everybody comes and you get to meet them, and we do the pictures and everything. But it is, I understand Ms. Schumacher's point, you know, they're voting for people that they haven't met yet. And so it's really whatever the board wants to do, we can do.
How about if we invite them, and if they're available, they can come, and if they're not, they can let us
Yeah.
know. At
Would
least
we
give them the
still want to
opportunity.
do one big event where we do pictures and everything for the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so both?
we'll do both, yes.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay.
All right. Any other board member comments?
I have a positive one.
Perfect.
I have a third grader who did the book with the eighth grader, and it was like she carries that book with her everywhere she goes. She loves it so much.
Fantastic.
So it was really good.
Good, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Positive works too. Lord, you know. All right, we're going to end on a positive note.
There you go.
Look at that, perfect. All right. Board members' prerogative, you guys all heard me talk way too much already, so I'm going to spare you more. We do have an executive session this evening, and we're going to do that for the purposes of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against the employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1. That, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Noreen. Roll call, please.
Maureen Krieger?
Yes.
Adam Hempkin?
Yes.
Kelly Moyer?
Yes.
Greg Meyer?
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher?
Yes.
Tyson Search?
Yes.
Perfect. Time is 7:47. Everyone, we're going into the executive session, so we do have to ask you to excuse us, if you would, please. I don't think there's any.
And then we'll call them in we'll call you in once we get it going, yeah.
Okay.
perfect. We are back in open session. As a result of the executive session, we have no action items on the agenda. Only item left is a motion to adjourn. We'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Second?
I'll second.
You ready? Perfect. Everyone else keep on going. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, close the meeting. It is 9:17 PM. Thank you very much for joining us.